Hi guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. So this video has actually been a long time in the making. To actually draw all this stuff, it took a couple months, and then it's just been sitting around for a couple months, not being used. So I'm doing the 50 faces challenge, which is actually the 100 faces challenge where you draw 100 faces. But I'm only doing 50 because 100 is too much of a commitment for me. I'm doing this to practice capturing people's likeness, practice hair, diversifying faces, facial expressions, and just to overall experiment with my style and make sure I'm happy with how I'm drawing faces by the end of this. By the way, if you aren't subscribed yet, we're trying to reach 2,000 subscribers. We've been trying for so long and we're so close, so please hit that subscribe button. And on with the video. So all of these reference photos, for the most part, are from Pinterest, and if I remember, I'll link the board below. I don't really know much about Pinterest or how to use it, but hopefully I'll do it right. So first, when I started off with these drawings, they were like pretty finished drawings. Besides shading, they're fairly clean, you know, nice line art, flat colors done. This first one was some practice with glasses, but mainly with hair, because I don't have much experience with facial hair, so I wanted to make sure I get some of those photos in. Also, there was some bonus hand practice, and it's not a very good hand, but it's not the worst I've ever drawn, so we'll take it. I don't think it captures the person very well, but the drawing isn't that bad. I don't really like the hair. The rest of it, I kind of enjoy. Then the next girl, I was mainly practicing facial expressions with, and looking at this compared to like the drawings you'll see later, it's like really clear to me what the problems are here. First of all, there's just some problems with like the eye proportions. They've always been out of whack for me. Sometimes I'll go smaller, sometimes I'll go bigger, but just in general, a lot of the proportions aren't to my normal cartoon standard. But just overall, the expression's really bland, not very exaggerated. I could do a lot more with it. I also did a weird thing with the hair because it was really messy and hard to draw. So I put down the color first and then like went over it and tried to show hair movement and direction, but it's really bad, honestly. Then the next one, I used the watercolor tool to draw the whole thing, and I was mainly doing that because of the hair texture. This one was mainly for hair practice, and I actually really like this one. I mean, it doesn't look like the drawing it doesn't look like the photo too much, but like just in general, it's a nice drawing that I enjoy. Then the next one was just some general overall practice. This one I also did lineless for the most part. I don't know why, I just felt like it. I think part of it was laziness. Because keep in mind, I'm doing like one finished illustration every morning at this point, while also doing all the other videos I was posting at this time. I also don't think this one's that great. Then the next one, this is where I start seeing that problem and I start just doing a lot more sketches. Just whatever I have time for, I'll do that. So this one was mainly makeup and hair practice. And I messed up because originally I wasn't going to have it sketchy. So I drew my sketch and then like a more defined sketch on top of it, but it was on the same layer. So when I decided that I was just going to take that more defined sketch, clipping mask it black, and color that in, it still had that sketch underneath it that I had to erase. So that really ruined it, but even beyond that, there wasn't much effort put into it, and it doesn't really look like the drawing. And then the next one was practice with mainly wrinkles, so I just tried to pick out the most prominent wrinkles and draw those, aka like one wrinkle. It does make her look a lot older though, but it's still not great. It's one of the better ones on this page, but not great. Then I was drawing some girl and just decided no. I do that a couple times, because sometimes I start with a sketch and it's just not working out. But the one I eventually went with, I really hate. It went by really quick, and I just didn't put in a lot of effort in. The next one's the same. It's also really bad. It was done really quickly. That one was supposed to be for facial expressions, and I did try a couple things, but it's just bad. Then we have the next page. So this first one was testing out like masculine versus feminine faces, while not really doing much of the face shape. And I actually like this one. So this next one was mainly for facial expressions, and I also did some playing around with the lips. I do kind of like it because I feel like this drawing's very exaggerated and cartoony, which is part of what I'm trying to do, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel like that person in a lot of ways. So then this one, I put in so much effort into this one. It was just kind of general practice, which is my way of saying I didn't have a particular reason to draw it besides pretty woman. I did get some good ear practice with it, because when it comes to like elf ears and stuff, those are the only ears I typically draw, and they don't look very good. So it's good to get some practice in with that. But yeah, I really like this one because I put a ton of effort into it. It's lovely. Also, the original photo is also amazing. So then this next one, I was kind of playing around with different face shapes when only having a circle, because this person has a very square face, and I used to do like different face shapes like squares and even more varied shapes. Like Peach's head used to be a hexagon, but now all I really do is a circle, except for my persona, which has a square face. It was like a gradual shift till I had like just circles and squares, and it was usually to show masculine and feminine faces, and then it just became only circles, the sequel to OnlyFans, only circles. But yeah, I tried some face shape stuff without pushing it too hard. I don't really like this one though. And then this next one was for facial expressions, and I do actually kind of like it. It's not great, but I enjoyed it. It's an improvement in pushing the facial expressions. Oh, by the way, a lot of these from now on you're not going to see photos for, because I would do them at school, and I can't access the internet on my tablet at school to pull up the photo and bring it into Ibis Paint, so most of the photos were on my phone as I was drawing. If you go through the Pinterest thing, maybe it can be a fun game of you trying to figure out which drawings are which references. But this next one is meh. This person had some really big eyes, I remember, which is why I was drawn to the photo. Which I do think, I mean, it could just look stylistic, but I did definitely blow up the proportions of the eyes. This next one has some great lip practice, which these lips look really good. I think they're the best lips in like pretty much the whole of this series. Also, like, I got a bit of practice with clothing folds. Like, I'm really getting a lot of different types of practice in here. But yeah, I actually kind of like this one. And then this last one, pretty bad. It was done really quickly. Most of the men in this series are not drawn very well, honestly. But this person had like a really sunken in face, and I tried to emulate that, and it's not great. And that was it for that page. So moving on, this person, it's just another one where it's kind of like pretty woman I want to draw. I can't say it's some makeup practice, we'll go with that, but I really didn't do this photo justice. So this person has eyeshadow on their like lower eyelid, which it's also red, so it kind of looks more like crying. I think in the future I just won't do that when it comes to makeup. There's still some hair practice in there, except with a lot of these hair practice ones, they're more interesting textures. I haven't really been drawing hair in a way that I would for an actual drawing, because none of them have line art, and so I still technically don't know how to convey this texture of hair with the line art. I don't know, maybe it can be fun to play around with doing hairs with watercolor, and I don't know, maybe I can try to incorporate this kind of method of drawing hair into my normal style, because it could be kind of cool. Like in the next one you'll see, it's kind of cool with the line art mixed with the lineless watercolor brush hair. Oh, and this drawing also has some lip practice. The lips aren't great though. I'm playing around a lot with lips. A lot of what I'm doing isn't looking good. So then this next one, once again, just hair practice, lip practice, also glasses practice, because that's another thing I need. I do really like it. I did something a little different with the hair to try and add more dimension, where I did a lighter color and then a darker color on top with the watercolor brush. I wish I'd gone a bit darker with the hair, but I think it looks a bit more interesting. This next one is really accurate, honestly, and I really like how I did on it. Unfortunately, the drawing reference is not from Pinterest. Kind of just some advice going forward. If you see a drawing where someone's wearing a mask, I probably drew a real person and like reference them IRL rather than going on Pinterest and finding a reference. But yeah, this one, pretty accurate. This is where it started being like, oh my god, I'm like actually starting to be able to convey someone's likeness in my style. Then this next one is some hair practice, doing different kinds of hair, except it's really bad because I was in a rush, and you really can't be in a rush when trying to do this style of hair. So, it's really bad. Just, we're gonna move on from that one. I really don't like that one. That's probably one of my least favorite ones. So this next one was practicing facial expressions. Again, once again, not too bad. I also tested out some lip stuff. I think it looks like the drawing quite a bit, which, like I was saying with the one I did IRL, I think I'm getting better as we go on with how well I can actually capture someone's essence. Then this next one, I used the watercolor brush for the whole thing. There's mainly lip and hair practice. I do kind of like how I did the lips here. I added a bit more dimension to them, trying to make it really glossy. And I really like this reference photo. I don't think I did a great job drawing it, but oh well. And then this one is me practicing angles, because that's another thing I need to do. And a bit of facial expression. And I think it's Mr. Bean. I think so. I don't know. I feel like I should have done the eyebrows a little thicker. And the angle, it's like not super clear that it's angled. But I still really like it because it's really silly. It's fun to look at. I did an okay job. So, like I said, I'm going to have to split this video up into 2 parts. This is about halfway through all the drawings. I really want to do one part, but to be fair, this video took a couple months to make. So, of course, it's going to have to be split into multiple parts. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, comment down below your favorite head you've seen. Also follow my social media in the description below, and I will see you all next